The official Miss Scotland is the next guest on the podcast. And Amy, as she likes to be called, covers so many interesting topics here. Honestly, it was a brilliant conversation. From the entry and the actual process of becoming Miss Scotland to going into Miss World, from lip fillers and her thoughts on lip fillers to the cosmetic industry to living in Dubai to the political landscape. This conversation honestly encompasses all. Before we start this podcast, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button, like button, 5-star button, whatever it is, wherever you are, I'd really appreciate it. It helps us so much more than you know, and the more likes and subscribes and all that kind of stuff we get, the more brilliant guests we can get on. My name is Harrison Brown, and this is the E39 podcast. If you're watching or listening, I hope this helps. Right, so what to do
Glasses off.
Glasses off. So see if you get them, right? Oh, I can't even believe I'm doing this again. So if you get them,
Again.
and then I was so like
Smelling salts with Harrison.
right. Try this. So put it like 6 inches from your face,
Right.
and then so wrestlers and stuff take these. Like it's not like you're incriminating yourself or anything. So like six inches from your face, and then like just smell them.
Like here.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Oh, you went back in for
Oh
the
my
second
god.
one.
It's in my eyes.
Wait, let's see them. It's not good, is it?
No, my eyes are all orange.
It's not good at all. It's like, I feel like when I did it, it was like, oh my god, they're so strong. It's like the worst thing ever.
Why would someone do that?
They do it. They do it before. Holy fuck! They do it before. My eyes are watering so much. They do it
Do you
before.
want a tissue?
They do it before it's like adrenaline. So they do it before they go and deadlift really heavy weights and all that kind of stuff. So talk to me. That was brutal. Talk to me about Miss Scotland. How did the process work? How did you get there? Like from the application to the end, like what happened?
So I applied like back in 2020 before the pandemic had happened, and they ended up cancelling it that year. So you apply and then you have an interview. So Jan's the director of Miss Scotland, so you have an interview with her.
And that's your manager, right?
Yeah, she's now my management. So like any inquiries that I get now, just she helps me with those. So after you've had your interview, they interview every girl, and once they ask you like kind of questions about what my eyes are still watering.
Smelling salts that hurt you.
After they have, well, when they're asking you the questions, it's like, what do you kind of see? Why do you want to do it? What do you see yourself doing for Miss Scotland? Like, what's your charity? You need to choose like a designated charity. So I chose MS Society for my cousin has MS. So after you've done all that, they then like decide who the finalists are. I don't know if there's like a set number of finalists. I think the last couple of years there's been 10. And then you meet all the girls when you go for like a photo shoot.
Okay.
It's funny though.
And are you all photo shoot together?
Yeah.
Right.
So it was funny, they did it like they were basically doing it in like height order going down. So they started like 6 foot and then they went 5'11" and I'm 5'11", so like I got put right in the middle and I was like but then all the other girls, they kind of change everyone about and then you get your individual shots. And then they give you kind of a rundown of what your challenges are, and each of the judges have like a challenge that they give you. Okay. And then it's like a point scheme. So
each challenge you get a certain amount of points.
You're like rated on your challenges before the night. And you've got like deadlines and stuff to do it. It's quite a lot when you're like juggling a full-time job as well. Right now it's in the middle of wedding season, so I was like hectic. But got them done. And then after you've done that, you go to the final, and there's like 3 different outfits that you need to bring for the final, and then
3. Why?
I think it's what you can see in different like environments. Like when you go to Miss World, they have like different.
Yeah.
I've not got my full list of what I need for that, but I think they said when they were briefly talking about it, you need like 8 like evening gowns, and you need a black dress for like there's like a top model section, So the first one was like black dress, and they ask you, it's like the hot seat. So you've got 5 questions from each of the judges, which are quite, I was like nervous about that, but it was fine. And then they don't do a bikini section in Miss World. So like, I know other pageants do, but not for this.
Why?
They don't really see it so much as like a pageant, this one. It's more like a kind of competition, and it's not so, this one isn't so much about your looks. It's like obviously an element, but they care more about like the charity side of it, and they care more about the person rather than that. And it's
so they're more personality based in that front.
Yeah, so it's a little bit, I don't want to say outdated, but I don't think I would have entered if that was the case. So it's, they've taken that out of it, but what you do instead is like, one of the challenges was for Fitness Frontier. So like they now are getting me in shape for Miss World because there's a whole fitness side of it, but they gave us like fitness gear. So we had to,
and a PT as well.
So like Chris, who runs Fitness Frontiers now, I was there last night, and I'm
dying,
humbled. A lot of work to be done there. But you have like the fitness wear section, but it's not like a bikini section. I'm a bit too shy for that. But then you have your evening wear one, and then they ask you like your final question of pretty much, why do you think you'd be a good fit for Miss Scotland to go to Miss World? So, and then they deliberate, and you go up, and everyone is there in front of the judges, and they do like third, second, and then first.
Yeah. But
it's a good process. It's just very, it's like nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But they were amazing, and all the girls were lovely. So
yeah,
it wasn't. I thought it was going to be as scarier. Like
the complaints
for
that
the
were coming through Instagram were wild.
Yeah. I was just like terrified. Like I didn't know what was, but it was all good. It was all good. I just didn't know kind of what to expect with it.
And it's a lot with your job as well. Like you're juggling essentially 2 jobs, right? Pretty much.
Like right now it's the height of wedding season, so I'm a wedding and events coordinator. So pretty much there's like kind of multiple 12-hour shifts in a week, whilst I'm also trying to juggle this and then like the charity side of it as well. It's like quite a lot, but it's shortened, but it's a lot.
And how did you find the shoot in Glencoe?
The shoot in Glencoe was amazing. However, I was hiking up in a dress, a maxi dress with like all these ribbons and stuff. It was for breast cancer awareness, so I had like the ribbons and stuff off my dress. It was wet, it was cold, it was windy. There was like, oh my gosh, we got to like one of the locations, I was like in heels in the middle of Glencoe. It's like standing in a swamp in heels. And I had my Crocs in this hand and my joggies in the other. And that was difficult. Was difficult. But also Jacob had wanted to go up like a bit higher.
Yeah, because you would have wanted to get the hill, like the hills in it, right?
Yeah. So I've changed out my heels, standing in the mud, putting my Crocs back on, still holding my dress, and we started like hiking up this hill.
Yeah.
And then we got up to the hill, and I was trying to put heels on while standing on the mountain, and trying to put it on the rocks, and then the wind was crazy, and I'm pretty much like a walking sail at this point because of the dress. And I was like trying to stand in my heels on this rock. It's like this. Wasn't easy.
But it did look better. Like I feel like when I do photography, like a lot of the stuff that I'll shoot is for moodier weather because there's like a more aesthetic, like there's more of an aesthetic to it.
Yeah, it's more aesthetic. It's just a bit
of a pain in the arse.
More logistically difficult.
And he didn't drive you, did he?
No, I drove down. Well, so I drove down in the morning
at like 6 a.m. because I said to go for, was it sunrise? You were there.
I think we were aiming. No, I can't remember. I think we were there for, I want to say 7 or 8. I can't remember. But obviously, with summer. Yeah. It was like just kind of morning light. So I
Yeah.
think it was about 7 or 8, but I left super early. And I had like all these dresses and stuff in my car. I didn't even know what I was going to wear. And then I was like trying to get this dress on over my joggies and my hoodie and stuff like that. Well, it's changed in the wilderness. I was like, this is great. But we were driving like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, like different parts of Glencoe with it, and so he just drove for that because I was like, I'm under enough stress at the moment.
Yeah, I can focus on that because you went down to the bit where they filmed James Bond. So have you seen James Bond, right? Of course. Okay, so you know how there's a bit where James Bond and is it M, the lady who's Judi Dench? Is it M?
She's M.
They're looking over like the Scottish Highlands. Do you remember that bit?
Yeah, but I'm kind of the bit that I remember is when it's like all on fire.
No, so that wasn't filmed in Scotland.
But that was Skyfall.
Yeah, but that wasn't filmed in Scotland. So they actually were going to film it near Crinan Harbour, which is it's like an area in Scotland. And then they changed it. So they filmed all the like drone shots and stuff in Scotland, but then the house itself, I think, was down in England somewhere.
Well, good they didn't set fire to Glencoe.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But it's such a stunning place. Are you going to go back, do you think, and go hikes and stuff like that, or is that not your thing?
I need to get the cardio up, so probably I'll need to go for hikes. Maybe when it's a little bit less wet and rainy.
Yeah.
To be fair, it was beautiful. Like the clouds were really low. But I will maybe wait until it's a bit warmer.
Yeah. See, winter there is so stunning. Like, especially if you do sunrise, because sunrise isn't till like 9 or 10 in winter, really. So you can do sunrise, and it's not like you're not sleeping.
Well, I feel like that's important.
Yeah.
I was like half asleep when I was driving up. I had to stop at like the Welly Boot Cafe on the way back.
Yeah, get coffee.
Is that what it's called? The Green
Welly.
The Green Welly.
Yeah.
And then I was like shattered. And then I shouldn't have done that though, because the traffic and next to Loch Lomond going back was horrendous. It was horrendous.
Yeah. And do you think, like, what's the process for Miss World? So like, is it the same kind of process apart from just on a bigger scale, or like how does that work?
Much bigger scale.
Yeah.
Much bigger scale. So obviously this has been going on for like decades. It used to be televised and all that. In the UK, I think you can, like, I think in the other continents it still is televised. I think it's just not really. It's a very big deal in like other continents. They haven't decided where it's going to be this year yet. But I think it's going to be early next year. But once I find out, it can be anywhere from like 3 to 5 weeks that I'm gone.
So you're gone for 3 to 5 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're oh really? So you're in the other country?
Yeah.
And that's when you do all the, I'm guessing
like,
all the kind of like...
It's like condensed. So I've obviously done this for Miss Scotland over like a few months, but there's like more elements of it in Miss World. So they have like a girl come from every country. So they're all in the processes now. Like I think Miss Brazil is in like 2 days. So that's obviously a massive country. Like they compete in their districts. Yeah. And then the winner of that competes.
Right. So they have like levels to it.
And it's like the same as India. Like they've got like
because there's so
1 billion
huge.
people in India. So, and it's like big in India. Like Priyanka Chopra won it in 2000. Like that was the start of her career. So it's a massive deal over there. So they compete in like their regions, and then from their regions they compete for like Miss India or Miss Brazil or whatever. So then it takes them a little bit longer. We've obviously only got, I think in 2019 our population was 5.4 million. I learned that from my questions. But it's obviously like a lot more intense over there. But then each girl, logistically, it must be a nightmare to send one person and make sure everyone can do it at a hotel that can suit everyone's needs, and then get venues for all the different challenges and stuff like that. So, but it's a lot more intense. And I was speaking to Chelsea. She was Miss Scotland last year. She was like, you're up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Everyone is downstairs for breakfast with a full face, full makeup, full hair.
Oh my God.
Which is quite a lot.
Yeah.
But I think it seems like everyone's like super positive about it, but I'm excited. I think I've got a lot of fittings and stuff like that coming up.
Do they pay for that? Like, is that paid for by them, or do you invest in the fact that you could win Miss World? Does that make sense?
So I invest in the fact that I could win Miss World. Like there's like a lot of opportunity. There's even a lot of opportunity that comes from Miss Scotland, like a lot of opportunity that comes from it. But obviously that would be on a whole other like stratosphere. It'd be huge. But you invest in it yourself as much as you want to, but there's like a lot of kind of space for like sponsorship and things like that. So my DMs have been kind of crazy with with like offers and things like that. So, and then also like Jan has a wardrobe
that's
fit
just
for
got
queens.
tons.
Yeah,
Right,
she's
okay.
like she does like styling for shoots and all that. She's got hundreds of stuff. But then also like Glen Isla Kilts is like one of the sponsors, so you need to have, there's like a national dress section.
Yeah.
So they're gonna do those for me, because they're a sponsor of the.
So your sponsors give you free stuff.
Which is great.
Pretty much, which is good. Yeah.
But I think it's good. It gives them like really good representation and stuff like that. And it's like when I go to New York, I go to New York in April for Tartan Week.
For Tartan Week?
Yeah.
So what's that?
So you know how they make a big kind of fuss about St. Patrick's Day over there?
Yeah.
They do like a similar thing for Scotland, but
Okay.
it's like it's like a week where they're celebrating like Scottish heritage and culture and stuff, because there's a big population of people
Okay.
with roots over there. So they have like a parade and stuff like that, but they have like someone like a famous Scottish person who like hosts it every year. So Karen Gillan did it. I think Degree Scott was last year. Billy Connolly's done it, but Miss Scotland goes. So I'll have like my kilt for that. And then when you go, I need to go. Well, Chelsea was in Toronto last year. I can't remember what month, but I go for that as well. And again, the outfits and things like that are for the fashion shows and stuff like that are all provided. So it's like partially like you can invest as much as you want into it, but there's options because it's not, we're in a cost of living crisis. Like I feel like a lot of people, like for any girls that are kind of applying next year, it might be like a fact that they're kind of concerned about, but there's space for kind of flexibility with it. Like you don't have to spend £800 on a dress for the final. Like,
and all the flights and that are paid for.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because I'm just thinking, like, especially when you've got people coming from India or like there are poorer countries, right?
Yeah.
That would be a struggle.
Yeah. Well, like most countries send someone, so there's obviously people with like different economic advantages. So I think they just take it out. But I'm excited. Yeah. It's a big thing, but my main focus is getting like the fitness up. Like the fitness challenge is a big part of it. Like you need to do bleep tests.
Oh, there's a challenge.
Yeah.
There's a bleep test.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it. It's like
I've not done one of them since like school.
I had not done one since I went to Costa Rica in 2016 for a month. We had to get fitness tested for that. And
wait, what were you doing in Costa Rica?
Chisholm Hunter are the sponsors of the Into the Mind podcast, and without Chisholm Hunter, we would not be sitting here today. Chisholm Hunter are a family-run business that have been going for over 165 years, and they specialise in luxury diamonds, handcrafted diamonds, and luxury watches. For example, Omega, like I have on today, or Tag Heuer, Vacheron Constantin, Blancpain, and many, many more. If you're looking for something for yourself or a loved one, head to chisholmhunter.co.uk. That is chisholmhunter.co.uk. And while you're on the Chisholm Hunter website, put in the discount code CHSUB, which is valid on selected lines. That is CHSUB on the Chisholm Hunter website. And without further ado, let's get back to our discussion with Amy.
It was part of like our final year skill trip, so you had the opportunity to go and do like charity over abroad. So it was
You did charity?
Yeah, so we built like a school.
Why did you do a bleep test?
They trusted a 16-year-old Amy to plaster a school. Because there was like a lot of hiking and stuff like that involved. So it was like a little village up in the cloud forests in Costa Rica. So it was very like cardio intensive and it was like really hot and it was really humid. So we had to also just make sure you're safe to go, because if your fitness is below a certain point, like you just can't hike.
Yeah, especially in that heat. The humidity is terrible.
Yeah, and it was like days and days of hiking. But I've not done one since then.
Yeah.
And it's not my strong suit. I'm stronger in other areas. So
do you feel better though? Like when you go to the gym, do you feel like, I feel like for me anyway, I feel mentally clearer if I go to the gym.
Yeah, like afterwards.
But during.
It's like
No.
Not during. I'm asthmatic. I really don't enjoy being out of breath. And with my job, like I have to push a lot of tables, like I'll lay a dance floor. It's like quite, when your muscles are sore from overdoing it in the gym,
Labor intensive, yeah.
it's like a bit difficult. And I'm on my feet already for like 12 hours for a wedding. So it's, if your muscles are sore, it's kind of makes the day a little bit longer, but long-term benefit.
Yeah.
That's the goal. And I feel like once, the more you do it, the easier it gets, but it's getting there. That's the hard part.
But it's the long-term benefit, like especially I feel, what you're 24 now?
Yeah.
You're 24, so like when I'm 26. So like when you do start getting older, it's, if you have been to the gym when you're younger, so especially like when you get older, your muscles start deteriorating. That's just like how, that's what happens, right? But if you have bigger muscles, like logic would tell you that it would take longer to deteriorate. Or if you keeping it.
Just use it while you got it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've been making a lot of excuses for time. So, and then I'm just like, I need to try and find a better balance with things. Like now I've got a lot on my plate. So that needs to be like a non-negotiable. Like obviously my work is non-negotiable, so I need to make that a non-negotiable. It's just a challenge trying to figure it out, but we'll get there.
You just do it in the morning. Like, I feel like we had a PT, do you know Marcus Kennedy?
Yeah.
Marcus Kennedy, yeah. We had him on, and he's done like I think he's done 3 Ironmans now. Like the boy is mental. Like he's so fit.
Yeah. He was in Dubai when I went for my 21st, yeah.
Oh, so he's been on the podcast, so I know him from school, but he ran a couple of Ironmans. He's totally sober now, but he essentially said, like, I tell all my clients, go in the morning, because if you go in the morning, there's nothing during the day that can like throw you off. Whereas if you go into work and you have a shit day, your boss shouts at you, blah, 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 blah. Eventually you go home and think, I can't be arsed with the gym.
I just deserve a treat. I'm going to get pizza.
Yeah, exactly. And would you go in the morning, or is that not your thing? Are you like a morning person?
No. No.
Not at all?
Not at all.
No?
I feel like things are very loud in the morning.
A bit irritable.
Yeah, so I really I'm a massive night owl. I'm a lot more productive at night. My issue is gyms aren't open at night unless you go to a 24-hour one, but my gym isn't a 24-hour one. No, I'm not a morning person. I was in Portugal with my friend Maria. She is a massive morning person. She was like getting up at like 5-6 o'clock in the morning, and I hadn't seen her in a year because she was like, she was my best friend in Dubai, and I'd moved home, and so we went to Taylor Swift, and we were staying at her parents' house, and she was up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was driving me insane. I don't know if I told you that, but she was doing my nutting with it.
You'd hate me in that instance then.
I feel like it'll come. It'll come. I just need to readjust. But I'm not a morning person at the moment. No, but I'm going to need to be by the time it comes around, because everything...
Well, you've got Miss World coming up, so you're going to have to be up at 5. Have you ever... I've just totally forgotten what I was going to say something. Have you ever... Oh, yeah, Dubai. Why the move, and why the move back?
I moved completely on a whim.
Okay.
I didn't know I was moving. I'd originally, so back in like 2019, I'd applied for university in New York for
Why New York?
drama.
Did you just want to like get out the country?
I wanted out.
Okay.
So like I'd done a lot of like work in film, like just kind of in the background, and I had done like body doubles, like so I knew that I liked that. So I was like, I want to do drama. So I'd applied like just on a complete whim to do that, and then I had like an audition over, like there was an audition process like over Zoom at the time, because it was obviously in New York. It was like a long process, but I had to get references and stuff like that for same standard as like applying for uni.
Yeah.
But it was like pandemic times. It was just before the pandemic. And then I got in, and then COVID happened. Couldn't go. But in my head mentally, like I was going. And then I was like cooped up for a year. Like I'd moved back home. I'd like moved out when I was like 17, and then I moved back home like during the pandemic. And it was like, love my family to pieces, love them, but it was like
but
a lot.
You couldn't stay there. Yeah,
it was a lot. And then couldn't go anywhere. So then the borders had opened up, and Dubai was like fully open. So I'd went on a holiday for my 21st and I was almost not going to go. And then I was at a beach club and there was like these girls that were talking to like my guy friends that were there. And they were like, yeah, we've been here for like a year. And I was like, what do you mean you've been here for a year? They were like, yeah, like the pandemic happened, so we couldn't go home. So we just kind of got jobs and it's so easy to get a visa here.
Instead, yeah.
And I was like, you're kidding. That's not the case, but it was the case. So I just moved, like whilst on holiday. I got a job whilst I was on holiday. And then I like went home for maybe a week and a half, grabbed my stuff, back out.
Did you enjoy it? Like I've heard mixed reviews about Dubai.
Yeah, I have mixed reviews about Dubai. So at the start, I worked in a restaurant.
Okay.
And then I was only getting like 5,000 dirhams, which is like £1,000. And the cost
month?
the cost of living there is crazy, but it got me the visa.
Okay.
So I was like living in the marina, which is like quite an expensive part of Dubai to live in, like in a flat. It was a nightmare. Like my first 2 weeks there, like I didn't realise that. So my bathroom was like shared with like 3 other people from like different countries. Like we didn't even speak. I just moved into this flat, didn't even know anyone, didn't speak to anyone. Everyone just kind of like avoided each other. But I was like having a shower before work one day and I didn't realise. This sounds stupid now, but it's just not anything that I've had to deal with before. So they had like, it was a kind of wet room and they had like a silver plate over the drain. And I didn't know that. I just assumed that the drainage would
drain.
I wasn't looking for a drain because it was a shower, so I just assumed it would be there. Anyway, I flooded the entire flat. I was mortified.
So
and
you were
then
kicked out.
the worst part was the girl in the room next to me, and instead of knocking on the door being like, by the way, you're flooding the flat, filmed it and just sent it to the landlord. So I was like and then I was like noticing that like there was maybe like 4 inches of water that I was standing. I was like,
why is this coming up from beneath me?
What's happening here? And then I was like,
Yeah.
I realised, and I opened it, and then I opened the door and it was like in the kitchen. It was in the living room. It was in that girl's bedroom and I hadn't even unpacked yet.
Were you kicked out? Or
No, I left because it was that awkward. I was like, because they were horrible. I ended up just tipping my full suitcase out because when I moved, like my stuff got stuck in London for a week. British Airways left my stuff in London for a week. So I'd flooded her room. I'd used my towel, it was already saturated. I just tipped my whole suitcase out and just dried it up with my clothes. And she was just like,
oh my God.
at me. And I was like, great start.
No English?
She spoke English.
Or just a little bit, or was it?
No, she spoke English. She just was like, she deserved to suffer a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like a people pleaser. So I was like trying my hardest to like try and make this better. And she was just like at me. And I was like, great, cool. And then so that wasn't really enough for me to sustain myself. And then when I'd moved, like my eyes like couldn't adjust. So it felt like every single time.
Really bright, you mean? Or like...
No, sand. Like my eyes.
Really?
Yeah. So my eyes were like every single time I blinked, it was like blinking with rocks in my eyes. Like it was horrible. And I think it was like a mix of the sand with the heat and the dryness and the humidity like changing and stuff like that. But it was horrible. And my face was like, my eyes were bright red, my whole face like puffed up. It was terrible. It was not cute. Wasn't very Miss Scotland of me. But then I was like, this isn't really for me. So everyone in Dubai does one of 3 things. You're in real estate, you're a primary teacher, or you work for Emirates. And I don't really like being told what to do. So Emirates wasn't going to really cut it.
Yeah.
So I went into real estate because I'm not a primary teacher. And the single-handedly most stressful job I've ever had in my life.
Well, you're dealing with like legitimate billionaires. Like it's going to be, Arab money is.
It's insane, but it's like people from all over the world, but also nobody wants to speak to you.
Why?
So the way you get like the properties to list, it's not like the UK. It's not a single market where only one person uploads your listing. Everyone has a listing. It's not an exclusive market.
Right.
So everyone can work on the one property. So you can have like 10 agents working on it.
Because they get commissions, so they all want to sell the property.
Yeah. So it's a 0% it's no salary, it's only commission. So it's like dog eat dog, and I don't really have the temperament for that. I'm not into it. But even within your own company, like if you've not put a note on your listing, you've got someone literally watching it day by day at your own table that you sit with and speak to every single day, so that they can take it right off you.
So if you're working on a client and someone else is working on the same client, but they get it before you get nothing.
If they get it before you and they close it, like, it's their client technically, but if they haven't updated the note on that, like, say you're having 1,000,001 conversations on like WhatsApp phone every single day.
Yeah.
You're out of the office a lot. So you might not remember to put a note on the actual like CRM. And if you don't put a note in the CRM, and someone, regardless of how much work you've put into it at this point, if you've not left a note like detailing the kind of conversation and stuff like that and spoke to client, is not enough.
So they can just take it off you.
They can take it off you.
Oh my God, that sucks.
You've also got like your stock for the coming year. So when you need to call through sheets, it's like Wolf of Wall Street vibes. You have like call out sessions with the whole office floor, sales floor, like all calling at the one time trying to get listings. But nobody wants to be called.
Not for me at all.
Nobody wants to be called because their information is all on like data sheets. So everyone's like, but all the real estate agencies have the same data.
Okay.
So here you go to a real estate agent. Over there,
Yeah, and they
a real
have the
estate
contacts.
agent. Yeah, over there, a real estate agent goes to you. So, and ask, are you wanting to sell or rent your property? And then the clients come from like the listings, but it's all fake listings as well. So you're competing with properties that don't even exist online, because people are trying to get leads so that they can cross sell to another one that does exist, and like try to get permits and stuff like that. Or like, you need to like get it's called a Form A, like where they give you permission to list the property. You don't technically have to have their permission. Maybe the law's changed in the last year, but not when I was there. You can list it just wouldn't be verified.
Right.
Only a certain amount of people can have a verified one, but anyone can list the property.
Even if it doesn't exist?
Like, the actual one will exist, but the unit number and stuff like that doesn't. So it does, but it's like not available. So it'll be...
but it's like fake listing almost, but it's only so that they can get... That's like me showing you a watch that I can't sell so that I can get you to buy a different one. So you can sell another one.
Yeah, 100%. That's it. And you're like arguing with people, like the agents over there, like they're from all over the world, but different kind of cultures have different ways of like doing business, and it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's the most stressful job ever. So then I moved into like doing like the short-term department. Like, so I'd helped to open up the short-term department at my company. And like I'd written like I think it was like a 32-page business plan or whatever, and we were trying to get it like going with it. And then the stress was just, if there was times where we had like a couple units, so like there was like the cleaning company that we used had cleaned the wrong unit. So at like 3:00 in the morning, I got a phone call because I was like, my number was connected to everything to do with it. So I got a phone call being like, our unit is an absolute riot. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, I got service today. So at 3:00 in the morning, I'm up out my bed going, try to source them another unit like within the company. So I did that, got them into a different one, paid for the taxi and all that to get them from the different one, apologised and dealt with the complaint later. But I was up at 3:00 in the morning and having to be back in at 9:00 the next day. It was just a lot of hours and it was a lot of stress, and I didn't realise how burnt out I was until I went home for 2 weeks. And
I remember that.
You remember that? Yeah. I was just exhausted, and then I went back. I think I went back for like 3 weeks, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I had no idea how burnt out I was.
Were you earning good money there, right?
Yeah, like
the tax is nothing.
Yeah, like there's zero tax.
Yeah.
So
there's maybe 1% now. I think they upped it to 1%,
they?
Which is still amazing, but I think they upped it to 1%.
When I moved home, I just muted the Dubai keyword.
Yeah.
Like, I do not want to see it. I do not want to deal with it. There's like talks that Miss World was going to be in Dubai, and it'll be good. It'll be good, but I'll know everything. It feels like I'm going home almost. But
I feel like Dubai is quite like clinical.
It's very clean. It's like, so there's like a place called City Walk. There's like a part. So developers, you know how we have like Charles Church or we have like Cala Homes or whatever. They have like that on a massive scale. So like you'll have like entire, like there's developers like Emar, they have full downtown's predominantly Emar. So like Burj Khalifa and all that surrounding area, it's all one developer that does it.
Right.
But there's one called Miras who has like a place called City Walk, and they have like blue waters. But when you're walking through there, like, you know the film Free Guy? That is what it feels like. It feels like you're walking in a video game.
Oh my God.
It's like bizarre, down to the shop fronts and everything. Like everything is spotless.
Yeah.
And it's like, with it being the Middle East, and like there's a lot, I think the largest population, like the population for the UAE is only 13% local. So the next biggest is, there's more Indian people there than there are local people. Like smoking's a big thing over there, and I don't see cigarette butts anywhere. But I also don't see any bins anywhere. It's bizarre.
Well, I feel like they get some, like, you look at the state that Scotland's in, and like Dubai are definitely getting something right, but I feel like what they're getting right is that, and this is just my opinion, because they're not taxing the rich are moving to Dubai, and it's bringing a certain caliber of people into Dubai, plus they're then reinvesting in the country.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah.
Massively. So like they have like the golden visa situation where if you invest X amount into the country, you get like your visa's sorted for 10 years. You don't have to do anything. The benefits are amazing.
Also, if you just pay, you can essentially pay for your visa.
Yeah.
In Dubai. Wow.
But there's no unemployment in Dubai. You need to be like, so you start a company or whatever, but like you can, a lot of women have like housewife as your Emirates ID has like your occupation on it. So if you're not working, then you have housewife, but your visa is paid for and you're contributing. Yeah. In some way or another. But there's no unemployment there because you cannot be in the country. See, they have like such a welcoming stance on immigration. They're very strict with their laws over there. Like there's no drugs, there's none. And if you do, or you are involved in it, then like
you go to jail.
Like without question, and it's like a very harsh sentence. So, but they don't want it in their country. Yeah. So that's
against their religion as well, right? Because they don't drink.
They don't, but like they're getting a lot more like relaxed on those things. It's like it's very Western now. But it's like all the good things that we're used to here without any of the negatives. Like there's no drugs, and it's insane how people just follow it. And like a lot of people who probably did do that back home just don't do it over there. I
was terrified of it.
There's only one boy I know who did it, got involved with it, and he is in jail. Like
my God.
He's been in jail since I think 2019. I think he's not been. I don't know if he's still there. Probably he's not been active in his Instagram since then. But they make it very clear. Yeah. Don't mess about. Yeah. But you can drink, you can do X, Y, and Z as long as you're not fighting. They don't like fighting or anything like that, and as long as you respect the locals and stuff like that. Their stance on immigration it would not be welcomed here, but it works perfectly there. And you cannot, like all the cultures, I know there's like a lot of kind of debate on like the ethics and stuff like that of like the labour force that they have. But I work with a lot of like, I know it's like especially like around like the Philippines and like Sri Lanka and all the taxi drivers and stuff like that. But I work with a lot of all the Filipinos in my work and things like that. Loveliest people, happiest people. I still have them all on Instagram. They're like genuinely happy people. So I know there's probably like parts that aren't, but for the most part, everyone's kind of happy.
Well, if you have money, like people can live freely, right? Because money is like a ticket to freedom. Whereas if you have like, so in Dubai, they've obviously got a lot of money. They're paying people very, very well. So they're probably happy to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Whereas like, I feel like Scotland's going down a route where it's like, it's not paying people particularly well. It's taxing people it's taxing everything away from people. It's punishing small businesses. Like there's just a very unattractive place to be. It's
got elements that it needs to improve on, definitely, but there's also things like we have free healthcare and stuff like that we don't.
My argument to that would be that it doesn't work.
Really?
Like I think that the free healthcare, every single, like I've had a couple of doctors on the podcast that are incredible. I've got one of my best pals as a doctor in the NHS. He moved to Australia for a couple of years, but then he moved back. And what's happening is we're training people up within the UK to be doctors.
And they go elsewhere.
And then they're going to Australia. And I'm not saying this, like the NHS system is flawed, it's broken. The doctors and the people that work within it are incredible.
Yeah.
However, you're paying taxes for free healthcare. The free healthcare does not work. Hence, a lot of people now need to go private.
Yeah.
And because a lot of people are now going private away from the free NHS, the private sector is getting overwhelmed.
Yeah. I think there's like an element of there needs to be adjustment. For example, I think it's amazing that we have free prescriptions. I think it's amazing, right? But I don't need a free prescription. I don't need it. I know a lot of people that don't. So I'm in a position where I'd be able to pay for my prescriptions. The same way that I need my glasses, I pay for those. I think if there was an option to pay for your prescriptions, it would give a massive boost, because a lot of people, I think, those who can would, and you don't have to give it for free if you don't need to give it for free, is my opinion on that. And same with like certain appointments and things like that aren't essential. Like, I think if you can, there should be an option, like an opt-in, opt-out. I think a lot of people would opt in, and I think it would kind of, obviously I don't know all the background, there's obviously logistics and stuff like that with it, but I think there needs to be more funding put into it, definitely, to try and improve it, to make it a place where people that are trained here want to work here.
Yeah, and they're paid fairly and equally for the hours they work. I think if you were to put a payment on pills, whatever it is that you need, it actually, like, a lot of people that are on medication don't actually need the medication.
Yeah.
But it's free.
Yeah.
So like,
they get it.
So you get it. So like the doctor Aileen, who was on the podcast, I think she was just before you actually, but she essentially said within the NHS they have like a pill pushing culture because they don't have the time.
They don't want to sit with you.
Yeah.
But there's one thing. Last couple of times I went to the doctors, it's not been a GP, it's been a nurse practitioner. Excellent. I don't need to see a doctor for a lot of things. If it needs to be escalated, it's obviously more affordable to have nurse practitioners doing kind of the screening for it. If it's like a matter that can be solved without having to pay, like, or not pay, but go to a doctor for it, it's less burden on the NHS if you're seeing the nurse practitioner for the majority of things. I think that should be kind of your default, is that you see the nurse practitioner first, and if you need it, you're escalated to the GP. I think that would save. I think the default shouldn't be GP for a lot of things. It's like the same as 111. You don't necessarily need to go to A&E immediately, because that's how I see it. Is the default right now is going to the most expensive option when there's plenty of people that are qualified.
Yeah, that could help you.
That can help. So, yeah, that I do think it's over there. Health insurance is like an issue.
Is it high in Dubai?
It's usually done by your employer, but it's whether your employer wants to cover. It's what
right. Okay. So were you covered when you were there?
Yeah. So my company, I worked for a Scottish company.
Oh.
So like the CEO of my company, I'm still good friends with him. He is Scottish, so the majority of my company was Scottish. But he wanted to make sure that it was like a good health insurance plan. Not everyone's that lucky. So, and then when I worked in the hotel, it was for Hyatt, so I knew that it was a good health insurance package. But again, some companies don't offer that. And then when there are, like, I was on 5,000 dirhams, I broke my foot when I was there, and
you also dropped a weight in your foot recently.
I'm very clumsy.
Was that yesterday?
No, I dropped a corner of a dance floor on my foot 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I dropped the corner. I was laying the dance floor, and they're big panels, like they come up to like here on me, and I dropped the corner of it with like the steel bar going right into my foot. It was sore, but my foot's black.
Yeah, it looked black. My pal Andy, you don't know Andrew Craig, do you?
No.
Blonde guy.
Do I?
He lives literally next door. Maybe not. He's like literally my best pal. But he was going a run one day, and I saw him prior to the run, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to be in Edinburgh this time. I'm just going to go like a 10-minute run. He got to my parents' house, which is just around the corner, and he tripped and he broke his foot, like just like over a branch. And then he came back and was like, no, I'm fine. And his foot was like, it looked like
black.
Yours, apart from a lot more swollen. It's why, like, see, if you break a tiny bone in your foot, it can screw you.
Destroys you. My sister's a podiatrist, and she's like, it changes the whole way you walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
which can like hurt your back and stuff like that because like you're changing your gait. Like it's a nightmare. But yeah, I'd broken my foot at like 3 o'clock in the morning because I had like so much pent up energy. Like I just needed to go for a run. That is something super safe. I could go for a run around the marina at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was fine. Not scared at all. But I broke my foot, but I had to pay. I was on 5,000 dirhams. I had like savings and stuff like that, and then like.
So you paid for it, right? So.
But I had like a lot of it was covered, but like a lot of it wasn't. So like I had like. I can't think of the word.
Tape or like a.
No, it's like a splint. So the splint for my foot, that wasn't covered. The medication for it was like only like partially covered.
Okay.
Try to find the health insurance like on my app and stuff like that was like a nightmare. And like the data plans over there are crazy expensive. Crazy expensive.
Do you not get like a free SIM?
You get the actual SIM.
But like, do you buy? Because I remember when I went to Sri Lanka or like Thailand,
They give you one at like customs.
Yeah, or you can buy one for like, I don't know, 20 quid and it gives you free data for the next 2 weeks. You know, something like that.
There's unlimited plans are like crazy money a month. I was paying about £200 a month.
For unlimited data?
It wasn't even unlimited.
Oh,
it was like a lot though. It was a lot. I got a lot more in my package, but because of like my job, I needed to be able to make loads of calls. I needed to be connected to data 100% of the time. But it's like expensive. So I didn't have, at the time I was only on £1,000 a month. So it was 3 o'clock. I had to walk home on my broken foot. So I walked home over a mile on my broken foot. And it wasn't fully covered. I would never have that issue here. And there's a lot of things that we do better than they do. I think we've got a lot of positive things. I just think it needs to be looked at. I think we need like an improvement somewhere just to kind of make it.
You know, did you ever do any traveling around hostels when you were young?
Hostels?
Like hostels, yeah, like going hostel to hostel and traveling around the country.
No.
So when there's this really weird thing that happens when you go to a hostel, it's so shit that it brings everyone together. Like, did you get what I mean?
We did do it in Costa Rica.
Yeah, like there's obviously things that are wrong. There's only one toilet between 8 of you. Like,
there's no hot water.
There's no hot water. There's like cockroaches. Like there's no aircon. Like, and because it's so shit, it brings people together. Like, and I feel like in Scotland the weather's shit, right? And all of a sudden,
a bit positive about the country that I'm representing.
Well, no, but like that's what makes everyone, I think, so friendly. Is that like they've all got common, like they've all got common ground, right? It's like if you have the same hobby as Jacob's a photographer, right? So me and him start connecting over photography. We start talking over that. If the weather's shit and everyone's in a dull mood, they all kind of connect over that one thing. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think the weather is a massive part of that though. Like I feel like everyone is just on the same platform as like, it's not great weather, but it is a great country. I feel like there's like things that do need to be ironed out with it. But every country has that. But I think for the most part, we could be in worse places.
Yeah.
I think everyone's dead. It might not be, as I say, perfect on paper like the other, like Dubai is, for example, but I think the people here kind of have a lot more
about them.
It's less, everyone's less about themselves and more kind of about the culture, like the country. I feel like everyone's more over there, everyone's very much like me.
It's like social media, go to the infinity pool and get a bum
everyone's
picture.
At Aura, everyone's at Feb 30. Like it's, I feel like here, when you go out, you're out to have a good time rather than to be looked at. I feel like when you go out over there, like everyone, you're going so that you can be seen to be somewhere rather than because you actually want to have a good time. Everyone here is having a better time from my experience. It's less performative, I'd say.
How do you find social media?
I used to care a lot more. Like I really used to care a lot more. I used to like make sure that all my photos were perfect for going up. And like there's still an element of that, but I felt like I needed to post absolutely everything. And now I don't really do it as much. It's important, I think, for networking and like for kind of building relations and getting yourself out there, but I think it's a bit toxic, if I'm honest, like the way that it is just now. Like I feel everyone is hyper editing their photos. It's unattainable, and I just don't know how people kind of stopped taking a picture because they wanted to take a picture and changing the motive to be taking a picture to post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
I find that like a very interesting kind of like
they want to be
change.
seen as happy, not actually be happy, if that makes sense.
Like 100%. And I'm guilty of it as well. Like, see my phone, every single time I post a picture, there's about 50 photos that have like been taken for me to pick that one photo, which isn't really that healthy, I'd say. But I find it in general to be quite toxic. I don't read any of the comments or anything like that aren't from like, I've kind of got like the people that I don't follow muted on it, so that I can't really read, or like I don't just kind of receive any messages or anything like that
or
from people.
Notifications or anything like that. You don't get any.
Because I get really overwhelmed with my phone. I feel like as humans, see like 100 years ago, we didn't have, you're on call 100% of the time with your phone. Like, see, not even just social media, but your phone in general. Like, I think it's unhealthy that people can see absolutely everything that you're doing at all times. It's like you're constantly being watched. It's like 1984, like it's mental. And the constantly have, like, see when you're on WhatsApp and it says that you're online.
Yeah.
Or that you're typing.
You can remove that, you know.
I have.
I removed mine as well.
Yeah, I have, because I'm like,
yeah.
I might be on WhatsApp just now, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm in a place where I can
Get back
respond to you just now.
Yeah.
And even if I did, even if I was, I don't think I should want to respond because I want to respond rather than because I have to respond. And like back in the day, like when you had to like give somebody a phone call, it's like, I'm a phone call girl. Like, I see all this texting.
Voice note girl.
Cannot stand it. Like my friend, she's like, she lives in Dubai. She's like, send me a voice note of like the whole thing, and I'm like, that'd be a 40-minute voice note. I was like, I want to have a conversation.
Yeah.
FaceTime me. And she's like, no, send me a voice note. I'm like, no. I prefer a voice note over a text, but I feel like the whole being on call thing, I think it's a massive contributor to mental health. Massive contributor. Like, see, constantly having to feel like you're obligated to reply. Like, I remember, I think we kind of had like, you'll be the same, like kind of had like a little bit the best of both worlds with it. Like my first phone, you had to like tap the button 3 times to get and you had like 140 characters, and you had like maybe 100 texts for your month. You had to be selective. I feel like life, maybe I'm romanticizing it, but I feel like life back then was a lot less pressure.
It's more simple. I think and also fun was more fun. Like, I think that when you look at when we used to go back to you're 24, I'm 26. So when I was maybe like 16, 17, social media was a thing, but nobody was on it. So it was like Facebook was there, but nobody really cared.
No.
So you went to these parties, people would be stupid and be children, as they should be, and, you know, smoke weed and drink alcohol, whatever they're going to do, and nobody would hear about it again.
No.
Because, like, there was no photos of it. Whereas now it's like the kids he's, you know, freaking out because he's too high, let's film him. And then 10 years down the line.
And then that's your digital footprint, it's there.
Yeah.
And I feel like at the time, see, at the start, I had a look at the start of my Facebook. Like, I had a very look at the start.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I was like, I wasn't saying anything stupid. I was just saying stuff.
Is it cancel material or was it not?
No, like, to be fair, I've always been quite
reserved.
Yeah, I'm like quite like I don't really have like any. I didn't really have a platform at all to send that to. Even if if there was anything that I was going to be saying, I don't think I would have said anything like that. But I didn't have the platform for it. No, in my head, I've always been a bit like self-conscious previously about, like, what will people think of me for this and that? And I feel like in the long term, that's kind of like helped me a little bit, but I don't think that's how we should really be living. But with social media and stuff like that, everything is tracked now. And I just feel like you're constantly being watched. And I think when previously you didn't have to worry about any of that. And I just think it adds to so much stress. And also you're accessible at any time. So anyone can say anything about you. If someone wanted to go and slate me just now, they can go into my Instagram, send like any of my pictures to any of their friends being like, look at the state of that. And I used to be terrified of that. Like I wasn't very confident until I was maybe about 15, 16.
What changed?
My twins are very outgoing. He's very outgoing and he is like the life of the party for everything. And I was always like just very, very shy. And I remember like our 15th birthday party, we had a house party. he had a house party and I had.
You were invited.
It was Alex's birthday party with
Yeah.
Amy present, and I had like maybe like 3 or 4 friends there. And afterwards, when everyone was talking about it around me, it was like, oh, Alex's birthday. It was Alex's birthday, and I was like, this whole shy thing that I've been doing for 15 years, like I just can't. Like I was gutted. Like I was like, literally nobody cares. Like, that's not true. I was like, I had like friends that were close, and that mattered more to me because I don't really have the energy to be like, I don't have a big circle just now. Like I don't think I'd have the mental energy to kind of like do it. I don't know how people do it, to be fair. But
why did you close up the circle? Because there's lots of friends that I used to know back in the day that we spoke prior that we don't speak to anymore.
Yeah.
Because you were in the same kind of.
Yeah, so they were always kind of like friends, but they weren't really like close circles. So like I'd say, but.
Were they just drinking? Do you find that there were more drinking colleagues? Does that make sense?
Yes, so like friends of convenience, I'd say. So everyone's like a friend of convenience. Like they're good for a night out and stuff like that, but I'm not going to tell you my deepest, darkest secrets about anything. Like I've got maybe like 2 or 3 people that I actually trust with things. Like love all my friends, but I don't have like a big circle by any means. Like I don't really want a big circle either. But I feel like the more people you have in your circle, like as I say, like there's more space for you to kind of have it with social media and stuff like that bite you in the back later on.
So you have more people you trust, but less people that are drinking colleagues.
Yeah.
Are you sober? Do you drink?
I do drink.
Yeah.
I'm a Prosecco gal.
Prosecco gal, okay.
But I hate the feeling of being out of control. Like I hate the feeling of the fear the next day. I don't like not being, I'm a bit of a control freak with everything that's happening around me. So when I start to like lose the ability to kind of like, like that's scary for me. I really don't like it. And then I think because I was gone in a culture for 3 years where it's not, it is a big culture there. There is a big culture, especially with the British community, but you can't be like visibly drunk on the street. So you have to behave yourself a lot more. And I've kind of just carried that over. Like plus the hangover, I get a 2-day hangover. It's not worth it for me.
Wait till you hit 26. That's terrible.
It was like when I was 21, that was it for me. I was like, so I also don't drink a lot. So like I'd say I'll maybe go out. I work all weekends. I work every weekend pretty much. So I don't really have the opportunity unless it's like a special occasion. So like maybe once every like month or 2 months even, like I'll get the chance to go for a night out and actually be on a night out with my friends. But even then, like my friends had the stamina to go until like 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm just like, I need my bed. Like I need to go. But no, I feel like it's not as big a. It's just I don't really get drunk. I drink, but I don't get drunk. And then my friends aren't really so much. I don't know what they were like before I knew them, but like with Sanctuary and things like that.
Sanctuary was like a phase though. Like I feel like that was a phase that everyone went through. Sanctuary, for anyone listening, by the way, is a club in Glasgow, and it was just the place where everyone went for.
It was for everyone who was like anyone in the social scene in Glasgow was, but I feel like the bouncers were really strict on the drugs though. So like I feel like when you were actually
had to be.
Yeah, because of the reputation. So it meant like nobody was in the club like necessarily completely. It wasn't like you were in a techno club. So I wasn't really surrounded by that, and it's like not something that I would ever want to kind of surround myself with.
Do you remember there was a guy that drove a car into the entrance of Sanctuary? Do you remember that? Were you there? Were you working there?
No, I wasn't. I think that was just before I joined, but I do remember that. Yeah, it was crazy.
And do you remember the guy? Oh my God, what's his name? He went to Kelvinside Academy, the school. He killed someone. Do you remember that? He was right. So this is a mental story. A pal of mine, I was with like 5 guys, and this, what was his name? Pacquiao. Is it Pacquiao? I can't remember.
Are you talking about like Manny Pacquiao or something?
Yeah, no. The guy, he killed a lady called Karen Buckley.
Oh.
Do you remember?
No.
I think you might have been working at this point.
Really?
So I got
maybe I blocked it out of my memory.
This is crazy. So this guy so we were in the queue, and on the night I had no idea what was going on because it was a night out Sanctuary. So I was with a pal called Harry, and we were standing behind this guy, and then a couple of my friends had managed to get in front of the queue. So this all comes out that he's essentially, what he did is he took this lady outside to sell her a phone or drugs or something like that.
Right.
And then she came out, he hit her over the head, chopped her up, and then took her out to Blainfield in Cologne and started dropping the body in acid. This is a true story. You can like look it up. My friend Harry was standing directly behind this guy. So Harry got brought in for questioning, being like, do you know the person that was in front of you? Like,
Because they would have seen it on CCTV.
yeah, exactly. On the way into Sanctuary, you can see.
Yeah.
So he got questioned about this guy that had essentially just like, you know, have you ever seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
That's where he's got the idea from.
Oh, like in the big blue vats. Oh.
And he was spotted, his car was spotting driving like at like 5 a.m, driving back and forth to Cologne like multiple times. And then obviously the police caught him and they were like, we know you've killed this lady.
That's horrible.
Horrible.
Oh. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll forget it now.
Yeah.
See, having worked there, like it was honestly very uncommon. Like
Yeah,
when
that
I was
anything
actually in
happened.
there, that anything happened in there. Like I feel like there's some, obviously, like whenever you're like out with people are drinking and stuff like that,
Fights
there's
are gonna break
always
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like someone is able to sneak something in that they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And but having like been on the inside of it, I really think they handled everything the best that they could. And
they
it's
did.
Like, see, working there, it was like one of the best periods of like my working life. It was like so.
Yeah.
The pay was great. The company was great, like with support and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I think obviously with clubs and stuff like that, there's always like stuff like
It's the people they attract. It's not
Yeah.
the people that own it. Like the brothers that own it. I know them. They're incredible.
amazing.
They're amazing people. But it's the people that it attracts.
Yeah.
And the people that Sanctuary was attracting was people that wanted to show off
yeah.
a little bit.
I feel like it's like the complete opposite vibe of what they got with Wonder Bar.
Yeah. It's totally opposite.
Like I feel like Wonder Bar's
A lot more casual.
yeah, it's so
Yeah.
much like I loved working at Sanctuary when I was there. Like obviously it was like glamorous. I had like all the football players and stuff like that, and I was doing all the tables and stuff like that. But it was obviously like there was an element of showiness to it, but I think Wonder Bar is a lot more
Yeah.
kind of
Your
the
vibe.
vibe that they're trying to capture. My friends are more Kong.
Yeah.
Specifically the rooftop.
Oh my god, no, that's a dirty night out if it was ever one. That's the one where you've got like the you've got like the dance floor, the bar, and then you've got like a glass strip and there's an outdoor bit.
There's an outdoor bit. I don't even think there's dance floor. Like I think it's just chairs and
Yeah,
stuff. Like,
yeah,
it's more,
but everyone turns it into
Yeah,
eventually
it's
they all
more-
get shuffled.
it's more of a bar upstairs than it is like a club, and I
Yeah.
think that's kind of more. Obviously, like a few years ago, like Glasgow was all about kind of like clubs and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and now I feel like it's more kind of the bar. At least in my circles, it's more like the bar vibe.
You've been to Armore?
Or more, yeah, only a couple of times though.
That is the bar. That's just the best
Is
bar.
that your go-to?
That's my go-to because I'm old now. So like me and
Shut
the boys,
up!
me
You're
and the boys,
26.
me and the boys. I know, but I started work when I was like 16, so my mental age is probably a little bit more like because the boys went to uni and I remember going to their flats and being
Not
like,
trying to one up you, but I was 15.
you were 15.
I started working in a wee restaurant in my town.
Where was your town? Where did you?
Straven.
You were from Straven. Where the fuck's Straven?
Great question. It's like
Is that near
so.
Loch Lomond?
No,
Am I
no.
the total wrong direction?
It's like maybe 35 minutes outside Glasgow. So like
Right.
Hamilton and East Kilbride are like here.
Yeah.
Glasgow's here and Straven's like here.
Okay.
But no, I just
Started
worked
in a wee restaurant.
a little Indian restaurant, and then yeah, when I was 15.
Yeah. And is that when you got into Doctor Who? I was actually going to ask you, did you watch the new the David Tennant special of Doctor Who?
No, like
The
recently.
Christmas one.
Recently.
Do you remember at Christmas I messaged you being like,
Oh yeah,
can't-
no, I didn't watch it.
did you not watch that?
No.
I need to be so careful here. It's so bizarre how they've kind of like integrated. Like Doctor Who's a kids
But
program.
how did they? Oh, okay. They got like a lot of like
So
interesting.
yes, my opinion is whatever you want to be, fuck it. I don't care. It's you. It's your life. Do what you want to do. If it doesn't impact me, why would I care? I feel like people want a purpose in life, right? So like some people that don't have a purpose will make their purpose being indoctrinated by these woke types
Yeah.
because they want to believe in something, and that's totally understandable. So like the woke culture recruits people like that
Yeah.
that don't really have a strong moral compass, and then all of a sudden go, well, if I become woke, then I've got this community around me,
Yeah.
and I'm lonely. And also like social media, you're in a mirrored room, so essentially it's your beliefs back at you.
Well, that's how algorithms and things like that's again harmful. Like the algorithms and things like that, they only surround you with opinions that you
Believe.
So it's like if you start talking, if we like right now, my phone will probably come up with all this stuff later on.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, well, it already does that. But I feel like you are right. It's a mirrored room, so it just kind of further like affirms your points, like affirms your belief because you don't have any conflict. Hiccup. You don't have any conflicting
Yeah.
like opinions there, and you can just mute the opinions. You don't actually have to listen to anyone, and it's like an echo chamber. It's not good.
Do you believe in? I know that we talked about a little bit about like lip fillers and cosmetic surgery, and obviously with social media that's becoming a huge thing because people have these filters. Like, what are your views as Miss Scotland on that kind of procedure?
I feel like there's an issue right now, obviously with social media and things like that, where everyone kind of feels a need to look a certain way. I feel like it's overdone. Like I feel like it's
done to the extreme.
It's done to the extreme, and they don't know now they're kind of looking at like the long-term effects of it. Obviously, like it's quite a recent thing with like how like originally when Kylie Jenner got it done, and then she got it dissolved and things like that afterwards because she was kind of happier with the natural thing. But it started a trend, and all these like millions and millions of girls have now got it. It's like the default in the UK. I personally would never see myself getting anything like that done. I'm quite happy with the way I look. I'm quite lucky to be secure in the way that I look. But I think the default shouldn't be just going and getting fillers done. It's obviously like a big money making thing. So you can go to do a course. You don't need to be a doctor to do it, but there's like things with like the anatomy of your face and stuff like that that will maybe help make you look better. But also like once the way that it works is like obviously when you first get it done, you've got swelling. Your body's not used to having that in your face, so it starts to swell, and then you get used to how you look, and then as the swelling reduces and as the filler it doesn't ever feel like fully dissolve. Like see if you get like the scans, you can still see all the filler, but slowly over time like it can expand in your face. Like it's but also like the lip thing, like it can like migrate out of your lips and things like that, which they don't really tell you about beforehand. And when you overdo it, like if you're going every 6 months to get top up and top up and top up, that's all just kind of sitting in your body. And I think it ages you in the long term, and I don't think that the girls that are going for it the second they turn 18 kind of are being warned or told that this is how it's going to affect you in the long term. If it's going to help somebody's confidence, then I don't think anyone has any right to say that they can't do it, but I think they should all be informed about it, and I think it should be like regulated. Massive in the opinion, and that it should be regulated, because I think it's like I've seen like botched jobs with it, and it's like you can't always reverse it fully. Like they say they can just dissolve it, but it's like your skin stretches, like you can't change it every single time, that you can't just reverse it. And I'm like, a lot of times, like I know a lot of my friends like have looked at themselves from beforehand, and like maybe after like 1 or 2, they're like, we're happy with how we look there, but now they're like kind of regretting their choices with it. And I just think it's like being sold as like a quick fix, rather than kind of working on the confidence and things like that. People are automatically going for the cosmetic change.
Yeah, and it's more of a mental thing, I suppose, as well. Like when you do see yourself with filters on Instagram and filters on TikTok. And
that was a big thing again for me. Like I had, the only thing that I probably had ever been like, is like I wanted like my cheeks to be more defined, because like obviously you see like Belladine and all that stuff, and I'm like, then I was like looking back at like photos of me when I'm younger, like before I'd kind of grown into my features and things like that, and I was like, we're not going to touch that. I feel like the way that my face looks is the way that my face is supposed to look, and it might be from, I'm obviously like quite comfortable with the way I look and things like that, and I am, as I say, very lucky in that regard. But I just think I didn't always feel confident in the way that I looked. And like when I was younger, I showed you a picture of what I looked like when I was younger. Like she was not blessed. Like it took a while to grow into my features, but I feel like if you change it before you give yourself a chance. But I think there should be more like there shouldn't be one standard set of beauty. I feel like everyone thinks that like, but beauty's a trend as well.
It's a bit like red hair. Like you've got red hair. That's like it's not a trend.
Right now it's a trend.
Right now people are dyeing their hair red.
Cowboy copper. Yeah, they are. And it's funny because like obviously in school, like you get bullied for being ginger back in the day. But I feel like now that and the freckles, everyone's kind of, I just wish the pale skin would come into fashion. I could stop buying fake tan. Because everyone's kind of a victim to the trends of it. Like I hate being pale. It's like something, but also you have like the melanotan with the tannin injections and the nasal stuff. So like there's things that I probably could do to change that, but I don't like the risk of it. So I'm not going to do it. And I feel like a lot of people are like willing to take the risk with things without being fully informed about the long-term consequence of it. It's not always just going to disappear. And I think in 40 years, that's when the real kind of
studies will come out. It's a bit like vaping. Like nobody really knows what vaping does.
No.
And they like
is it healthier than smoking? Is it?
It has less tar in it. Like I think that, but then it's like
sticky stuff sitting in your lungs.
Exactly. But have you also seen like snus? Like
everyone and their mum has it like up here, and I was like, it used to really bother me when I worked in the club because all the footballers had it because they couldn't smoke because so. But I think it dissolves their gums. Like I think it causes like gum disease and stuff like that because it sits up there, which will cause like tooth decay and loss and stuff like that later on. And I'm like,
it's not. It can't be good. But I think that if you look at like, so my friend had snus because he stopped smoking, which is good. I think that snus is a better form than smoking, but anything's
better than cigarettes.
Anything better than cigarettes, but anything that turns over cells faster will lead to cancers. That's just fact. So if you're snussing, you're turning over the cells in your mouth faster, you're more likely to get mouth cancer. It's just a fact. However, if you look in the back of a Velo packet, which is the brand of snus, it says like, if swallowed, see a poison specialist. So like people that are taking that, it says to you on the back, it's poison. That's what it's saying. So like, how can it be good for you or better for you?
I think there's like the whole, you know how they're talking about like making it illegal for people born after, I think it's like 2008 or something like that. Yeah. I saw like the outrage in the comments because people were like, they're infringing on people's like rights and stuff like that. And I'm like, they're infringing, like they're not stopping you from smoking. Yeah. They're stopping your kids from smoking and getting
and they're trying to make you healthier. Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know that it causes cancer.
Yeah.
But I think again, it's all, even all the stuff that they're putting in their face, everything, it sounds judgmental. I'm not trying to sound judgmental. I think it's helped a lot of people with their confidence. Yeah. And it might be a bit unfair for me to sit here when I have just won Miss Scotland without having to make any changes with it, because it is like, it's not only about like how you look, but it is an element of it. But I think that's also possibly, I don't know what the deliberation was. I don't know what the conversation was when they were deciding who the winner was going to be, but I can't imagine that it would have done me any harm, that I'm confident in my skin. Yeah. And I wish, there's like people that I find absolutely stunning, like beautiful girls that I see, and some of them have had like their lips and stuff like that done, but a lot of them are just natural and they're like self-conscious about their lips and things like that, or I think when it was just lips it wasn't so much an issue, but now it's like cheeks and jaw, tear trough. Yeah, so see if you've got like a dip in here, like you can get it like expanded filler in there, so it like fills it up. It's like more common in anti-aging, like when you're older. But a lot of like younger people are doing it as well, and I think if it's not a doctor, it needs to be a doctor, in my opinion, who's gonna like, because they will make the decision on whether you've got like a dysphoria, or if it's something that can genuinely like improve the symmetry in your face or something like that, or like they can determine on a deeper level whether that's something that will actually help you, or whether it's because you feel compelled to do it for other reasons that aren't healthy.
Kieran was one of the judges on your, so Dr. Bong.
Dr. Bong.
Yeah, Dr. Bong. So when he was on the podcast, so I think that if it makes someone feel more confident and they feel like they really need to do it, then do it. However, I would advise to wait. It's a little bit like a tattoo. I would say it's not reversible. I think that people are going to sell you this reversible, but it's not.
Made that mistake.
Did you get a tattoo?
When I was 18.
What did you get?
Got a rose. It's on my ribcage.
Oh, I've actually seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a bad one though. Where did you get it?
At a random tattoo shop in Glasgow. But I had...
It's quite well done though.
Well, I
Yeah.
drew what I wanted, right? So I'm like, without tooting my own horn, I'm very good at art, right? So I had drawn what I wanted. And it was like round, like it was rounded and stuff like that. And I took it into the shop and the girl was like, no, I can't do that. It's somebody else's work. And I was like, it's my work.
Yeah.
I was like, if I was able to give myself a tattoo,
Yeah.
I would do it myself. I was like, it's mine. She's like, I can't verify that. I was like, I'll draw it for you now.
Yeah.
And she's like, we've not got enough time. She's like, I'm just going to go and rework it and then I'll bring it back. And I was
So
18.
she made it hers.
Yes, but she made it like dead pointy and stuff like that. And then the lines are thicker than I would like. But I was like 18 and I didn't have the confidence to be like, nah. And now I regret it. Like I actually regret it. And whenever like I'm not particularly shy on my Instagram, having lived in Dubai with the bikini pics, but like I'm always like turning around the other side so that it's not
On show?
on show.
Would you ever get it removed? It doesn't look bad. Like, it's not humongous. Would you ever get it removed? Or are you thinking of getting it removed?
It's like, it doesn't bother me day to day.
Yeah.
It's covered 99% of the time. But I don't like it. So I don't
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't despise it. I don't regret it with every fibre of my being. But if I had the choice to not have it on my body, it wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
My mum and dad, I hate to say it, were right.
I to be fair, I was in the Lucky Cat tattoo parlor, which is where Biffy Clyro got his tattoo. Is that the one that you went to?
I don't know. I can't remember. I
Yeah.
think it was on
Just 18 and
6 years ago. I just like anywhere that would take an appointment.
yeah. I was in the Lucky Cat tattoo parlor, and a pal of mine at that point was getting a tattoo. I think you'll know it. So he was getting the bands around his So the band around his wrist, and I was going to get a tattoo of coordinates on my ribs. And I remember the tattoo.
It's a very you tattoo. It's
It's
like a
very
compass.
Yeah, like art. But I was going to get that. And then I remember the guy, because he was like a lot more experienced, he could tell that I was freaking the fuck out. I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm scared of needles. I was like, I don't know what. And I was like, yeah, I kind of want that. And he was like, right, is it your first tattoo? I was like, yes. He's like, right, don't get it on your ribs because your ribs are right next to the bone.
It was like I'm a cat gal. So I felt like my cat was like...
It's great. Your cat is...
He's so handsome.
With one eye.
He's got one eye.
How do you have one eye? Did you get in a fight?
So I adopted him obviously in Dubai.
Yeah.
And he's a Scottish Fold, so that's like a really high-end
cat.
brand. Yeah, like it's...
Have you seen the first people when they're like showing off the cats and they like stretch them
I do that with mine when I'm bored. I'm just like in the mirror, just being like, oh, we have a Scottish Fold here. Look at the fold in the ears. Nice weight to the cat. Elizabeth's a bit too heavy. Her pouch just like, oh, sorry. Her pouch just goes like that when I do that. We think I adopted him from like a Russian cat rescue centre. Like they were Russian. And his original name was Pirate when they adopted him.
Eye.
But in a Russian accent. P-rat. So I was like, maybe not. So I was like, I'll just change him to Michael because Mike Wazowski has one eye.
Yeah.
But they picked him up off the street. He was like around the bins and stuff like that, and he had like a fungal skin infection, so he had to be shaved like multiple times. But I think the reason that they chucked him on the street, because everyone lives in apartments over there, was that one of the other cats in the litter, because he would sell for like, if he was perfect, he is perfect, he's my perfect boy, but if he was like physically perfect,
if he had two eyes,
if he wasn't ocularly challenged, then he would probably sell for like £3,000. Like,
really? Is that much money in
over
them?
there? Like, they care about their cat. Like, in like Eastern countries and stuff like that, cats are like a big thing. So like it's all like designer cats, and he's like a gorgeous ginger boy. And they think that he got scratched and his eye got infected and they couldn't sell him. So they just chucked him on the street.
Oh.
So he got picked up and he got taken and he had to have his skin, like, it was shaved like multiple times and he was like getting treatment for it. And then they had to remove the eye. I think it makes him look more endearing now. And then with Elizabeth, she was called Lubska, which again...
Why? What is with the names?
Russian names. Like, I'm sure it means something beautiful in Russian, but it just sounds a bit suspicious to me.
Can Russians still go to Dubai?
Yeah.
They can still travel
It's
back
like a
and forth?
haven. Like, Blue Waters is pretty much mini Russia.
Really?
Yeah. Like, they brought so much money over. Like, when the sanctions
Yeah.
and stuff started coming, like, they got so much money they brought over.
Okay, well, where else are they going to spend it?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's quite a neutral country. So they're just like, I'm not getting involved. So with her, like, she had kittens probably when she was only a few months old herself. Her tummy's really stretched and she's got like a serious anxiety. She does look really
You have
fat.
cat anxiety?
She has anxiety, like really bad
How can
anxiety.
you tell?
Because when I'm not there, she cries all day. All day. It drives my family crazy. It drove, like, when they were there for like 6 months, I left them in my flat over there, like living with my twin, until I was in a position to bring them home, and it was like hoops to bring them home, because he's a Scottish fold, so you're not technically allowed to import flat-faced breeds to the
It's
UK.
like pugs are the same.
He's a pug version of a cat, so
Right, so that's why he looks like more of a one-eyed human.
he's so cute though. You can insert a picture here. But he's pretty much like the pug of a cat, and you're not allowed to import them. But obviously special exceptions had to get made, so I had to get his like passport redone with a formal breed change. He's like now domestic short hair on paper.
You got his
Legally I got his breed changed.
How did you legally
Re-registered.
get his gender change?
They
or
can't
breed
prove
change?
they can't prove, well, when we're on that topic, you can't technically prove that he's a pure breed unless you're going to give him a DNA test. So I just said he was a
Right.
mixed breed with, like, it wasn't me that did that. I was like, I got advice on it.
You might be incriminating yourself here, so just check this.
I got advice on how
to do it.
to import him because it was a grey area.
Yeah. Same
And
as disability dogs. Have you seen that?
where you can't,
You can literally just go online and
you can just say
register them
this
as
a disability dogs and you can
You
take
can
them
be like, I'm
anywhere.
dyslexic if I need a disability. No, I'm not even kidding. You can go online and do...
Just register your dog as like a support dog.
Yeah, like Steve-O from Jackass, he loves his dogs, right?
It's not like adopted in Mexico or something.
Yeah, and he just registered it as a support dog, and then he just brought it back. And he said, like, there's no criteria for a support dog. Like, there's very little
I wonder
criteria.
about support cats.
Yeah, you can get them. Like therapy cat.
Therapy. Oh, they are my therapy cats. But for Elizabeth, I'm her therapy human. She will not shut up. And when I'm in the house, she is no more than 5 feet away from me at any point. It's crazy. Like, and she, like, I wake up in the morning and she's like licking my hair. Like, she's just like licking my eyebrows and stuff like that, trying to groom me. And she's like, get away from me. She's cute though. She's cute. But
Would you ever get a dog?
I've got a dog.
But would you ever sell the cats and keep it? What dog do you have? You
got-
never show me the dogs. You always show me the cats.
I've got a Labrador Retriever.
You have shown me that.
She's an ex-guide dog. She failed her guide dog exams. All my pets were just charity cases. She's old now, though.
Yeah.
She's at the groomers today. But
Sad when you see them start getting old, isn't it?
she's like Labrador. She, like, I don't know if it's the Labrador side of her or the Retriever side of her, but they're prone to like cysts and abscesses and stuff like that.
Cancers as well.
And she's got cataracts, and she's
my
like, she's a lumpy gal.
Yeah.
She's lumpy, but she's so sweet. And she's got, like, she's 47 kilograms. She's a big girl, like,
Wow.
big girl. Like, she's
Doesn't skip breakfast.
doesn't skip anything. She's no cheat days, no meal skipping for her. I'm 60, well 59, and she's like 47.
You're 59 kilos. Oh, I feel fat now. I'm like 85.
I'm built like a bit of dried spaghetti.
You're not.
I'm built like a bit of, like, I was like, the training last night with Chris, and I was like chatting. I had to take off all the plates off the sled push because I couldn't push it because it weighed more than me. I was like, great.
You'll get used to it though. Your muscles adapt really quickly to stuff like that.
I need to have muscle to start with, but that's how I
No,
compare
but they do
it.
like
A bit of dried spaghetti.
they do adapt really quickly. Like I promise you, like I've been going to the gym since I was quite young, but there was a period when I was getting like bigger, like I had a lot more time, so I was going to the gym a lot. And you do adapt really quick. Like your muscles will adapt really quick. You just need to be careful you don't fuck yourself, like you injure yourself.
Like I injure myself a lot. Even when I was coming in here, I walked right into your railings.
Right into the pole.
Just like clotheslined by the railing. I'm pretty prone to it. I'm used to it. I'm just covered in bruises all the time.
Well, listen, thank you so much. I've just realised we're almost at time. If people want to find you, where can they find you?
Like socially?
Instagram?
Instagram? Yeah. Instagram's pretty much the main vibe. I don't really do my Twitter or my Facebook or anything like that. It's just Instagram. But
And is it Amy
Amy
L.
L. Scott _.
Yeah. And the charity that you were supporting as well, is there still a Just Giving link up for that? Or is
I've got a new one up, so like all the money like I'd raised 3,110. So that went over to them. So that's exciting.
Yeah. And is the link still up for that?
I've got a new one now that is just going to be passive.
I'll put it in the description as well so people can.
That'd be amazing. Because it's a really good cause.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always best to do it. Like I think we did something recently for Spina Bifida Hydrocephalus, which is a charity. So we did it on Sunday. There's like a zip slide, but there's something about the feeling of raising money for a good cause or like giving money to someone that really needs it that makes you feel so much better. And also the government have just cut all the charity payments.
Have they?
Yeah, there's another Labour thing that wasn't.
That's
in their
not a very
manifesto.
left-wing thing to do.
No, so they've cut all the charity. So this charity that we're supporting, it's like very essential that we support them now because they don't have any government money.
That's shocking.
Terrible. And they don't tell you about that and the fucking... Do you know what I mean? This is the stuff that I'm just like, I don't... It's terrible. Anyway, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.